Okay, so this problem is very similar to the one I just did with the histogram. I don't know if you watched that video. But we've got 46, we've got a frequency table, we've got 46 students. If I add up the number of siblings, will add, no, I'm sorry, if I add up the frequencies, that'll add to 46. The values are the number of siblings. So I'm going to show you how to do this with a spreadsheet. You can certainly do this with a calculator. In fact, at the bottom, I'll leave this here. This is how you can use your TI-84, or for that matter, I think in 83 we'll also do this. If you own that kind of calculator. Otherwise, you can use a spreadsheet, or there's plenty of applets out there you can find and do this. So one way to do this, get this data into a spreadsheet, is just to type it in. And I know you can do that. I'm going to try to show you. I don't know if you know this about spreadsheets, so I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to select the data with my mouse. I'm going to Control-C on a Mac. I think it's Command-C. On a Chromebook, it's Control-C. And then in my Google Sheet, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to click once. I didn't select it. Notice not selected. Well, it is selected, but it's not. I'm not editing it. And then I'm just going to Control-V it in. And you see what happens. It just pastes that data in very nicely. I don't have to type all that in. Now, unfortunately, it's not in a column. It's in a row. So this might be where this might be new for you. I'm going to select those cells I just copied in. I'm going to Control-C them. I'm going to click. Actually, I'm going to click right there where I have the word siblings. You can do this in a blank cell. But then here's the thing that's different. You're going to edit, paste special, and then we're going to transpose the data. What that does is that switches, if you've ever taken a linear algebra class or a finite math class maybe, you'll learn about transposing a matrix. Same kind of thing where we're going to switch the rows and the columns. The rows become the columns become the rows. So I'm going to paste transpose, and notice what happens. It pastes it right in there. I don't have to do much typing, so try it. You don't have to do this transposing thing and get the data in the spreadsheet. It's just a pretty cool trick. I'm going to clear this all out. So now what you've got to remember, if you watch that other video, and if you didn't, I would go watch it. We're going to find the mean first. In fact, what do they want us to do in this problem? We need to find the mean and the median. So in order to find the mean, I've got 4 zeros. I've got 3 ones and 7 twos. And as I said, you could write out 4 zeros. You could write out 3 ones and so forth. Of course, that's going to get old quickly. So the other way to do it is multiply. I'm going to multiply 0 times 4, 1 times 3. And I'm just going to let my spreadsheet do it for me because that's what spreadsheets are good at. So equals will do the formula. I'm going to click on the 0, then Shift 8 to get the time symbol, and then click on the 4. And that does that product. Of course, 0 times 4 is 0, so we know that's right. And then I'm going to click and fill that down. Notice when I go to the little square at the bottom of that cell, I can just drag down, and it'll automatically do those updates. It'll do that change. So that's what the sum or the product of all these, the counts times the number of siblings. And I need to find the sum. Now, I know there's 46 kids here, 46 siblings, but just to make sure, I'm going to do equals sum and select those cells. And that's sum of 46. Well, that's good. And then I can do the same thing again, or I can copy paste. I'll do both. Yeah, I'll do equals sum. I'm going to select this column of numbers and enter. And so that's what the sum of these numbers are. I could have just done this too. If I couldn't just go to this cell which has that sum formula, Control-C, Control-V. Notice it's the exact same number. So it'll automatically do the updating for you. So now to get the mean, we're going to take that 166 number. That's the sum of all the numbers. And we're going to divide it by how many numbers there are. And I'm just doing the click in. I could do type in. So that's the mean. On average, there's 3.61 siblings in a family. Big families. The median, well, let's see. So then I'm going to do that. If you watch that other video, I talked about, you know, that trick where you can say, hey, I've got 46 numbers. Let's add 1 to it and then divide by 2. Well, 46 plus 1 is 47. 47 divided by 2 is 23.5. So that tells me the median is going to fall between the 23rd and the 24th number. So now let's do some adding up here. So I'm looking for 23 numbers. So that's 7, 14, 21. So both the 23rd and the 24th number is going to be in this bin, in that class. So that tells me if I average 4 and 4, I get 4. So the median will be 4. Looks like a left skewed distribution, doesn't it? Because the mean is less than the median. So that's those two values. Now to get the standard deviation, we need to what do I want to do? Guess I'm going to do some clearing out here. Okay, I have to do x minus the mean, x minus x bar, x minus the sample mean. Find how far each of these values are from the mean. Since the mean is 3.61, I don't want to do that all by hand, so I'm going to do equals. I'm going to click on the 0. I'm going to subtract the mean. Now, I could have this locked somewhere in the spreadsheet. I'm just going to type in the 3.61. But I don't want to type in the 0 because then I will have to type in the 1 minus the 3.61, the 2 minus the 3.61. If I make this a relative reference, I know I want whatever cell, whatever number's in the cell to have the mean taken away from it. That'll do it automatically. And then if I come to this cell, go to that little plus sign, see how that little square goes to a plus sign. Then maybe I should shut off the let's see. Whoops, let's turn that off, or I guess I'll come back here. See the way that goes to the plus sign? I'm just going to fill that down. And that does that, all that subtraction, takes the mean away from each of them. Then the formula for the standard deviation says you have to square each of those values. So I'm going to do a little fancy with my text. Equals, I'm going to square each of those values. So I'm going to do equals. I'm going to click on the 3.61 number. Notice it tells me the cell C2. And then I'm going to do shift 6. That's how I get a caret symbol there. That shows exponentiation. And I'm going to square it. So it'll take that cell and square it. Notice it as it squares a negative, it turns it positive. And then I'm going to do that fill down trick again. And notice it did it. It did what I wanted it to do. Now, normally, if you think about the formula for a standard deviation, and I did this in the last video, so if you watched it, I'm sorry for the repeat. We take the number we want minus the mean, and we're going to square those differences. Then we find the sum of all those squared differences. The trouble is, I don't have just these six numbers. I have 4 of the 13.03s. I have 3s of the next one and 7 of the next ones. So I really have to multiply. What you're going to do, you really multiply this value times the frequency. There's a fancy symbol you can find in the textbook for this or in some other textbooks. So I'm going to multiply the differences, the square differences times the frequency, then find the sum of those. And then, of course, I'll finish this part off. If I divide by 1 less than the number of numbers, that's my variance. And then if I take the square root of that, that's my standard deviation. So we might as well do that. And that's what I need to do is I do need to do the standard deviation here, don't I? So let me clear all this drawing, come back to my spreadsheet. So this is going to be, let's see, I'm going to say frequency times, whoops, I want to hit escape. I don't want to change that. Whoops, I get some really messing up here. There, I want that. I'm going to copy this, Control C. I'm going to come here. I'm going to write the word frequency. Remember, this is just for me as a human. If I didn't have 10 thumbs, I would be able to do this correctly. Okay, so I copy and paste that in. So I'm going to do equals. Looks like I got to see my whole spreadsheet. I'm going to do escape. I'm going to do equals my frequency times shift 8 times that squared difference. So that's what those 4 square differences add up to. And I'm going to do the fill down trick. So now that's the sum of all my numbers. So now I'm going to find the sum of those. So equals sum. I'm going to select those numbers and add those up. So that's the sum. So this is the sum of all the frequencies times the squared differences. Now to get the variance, we're going to divide by 1 less than the number of numbers we have. We know we have 46 numbers, right? I think it wasn't it 46 numbers? Yeah, there are 46 numbers. So we're going to divide this number here by 45, 1 less than the number of numbers. So equals, I'm going to click on that number, divided by 45. That's my variance. Then to get the standard deviation, is what this question is looking for, we need to take the square root of the variance. So equals, and the command, the function for a square root is sqrt. And I'm just going to click on that. And that's my standard deviation, 1.9. I don't know how many decimal places I want to use. Let's see. I'm going to go 1.949. I guess I'll go with 1 because then we get those whole string of ones that aren't going to change much. Okay, now to get the quartiles, I know there are 46 numbers. So since there's 46 numbers, half of them are 23. We knew that the median was between the 23rd and the 24th number, right? So there's 23 numbers below the median, 23 numbers above the median. If we do that n plus 1 divided by 2 trick, that'll tell me, well, let's see, 23 plus 1 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. So the median, the lower quartile will be the 12th number. So there's here's 7, and 7 more makes 14. So that tells me the median will be, the lower quartile will be it will be a 2. It just occurred to me we could also use Dr. Stevens, P of 25. What if we did that? What if I did the 25th, so 0.25 times 46? Well, won't that be, let's see, half of 26 is 23. And half of that, so a quarter. Well, basically I'm trying to do what's 46 divided by 4, aren't I? And it's going to be a decimal number. And let's see, I've got a calculator going here somewhere, don't I? Here. I can't get access to it right this second. Just a minute here, guys. I'm going to go to Google. What is 46 divided by 4? 25% of it. So 11.5. So using Dr. Stevens' method, the 11.5 number. So we're going to average, what does he say? He says use the honestly don't remember how he does that. You can correct me, folks. I know it's going to work out to be the same number. That's the nice thing about it. So let's come back here to my spreadsheet. The 11.5 number is going to be, again, that's going to be, I got 7, and then I've got the 11th and 12th, and all that set of numbers is going to be a 2. So see, the manner in which you do this doesn't really matter. I like this n plus 1 over 2. method, but his method works. I'll make a post in the discussion forum about that once I sit and go take a look at his book. So the first quartile is a 2, I said, right? And then if we think about the 12th number above the median, well, let's see. How about if we do the 12th number coming down from the maximum? Well, in that case, oh, this is going to be interesting. Well, there's 12 numbers that are less than the maximum, and that's 6. So I'm thinking the 12th numbers, the median, the third quartile is going to be a 6. We shall see if I'm right. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to click show answer. It is 6. Okay. Did they say 2 here? Okay. I'm kind of cheating. I'm not using the green check thing. But so that does work. Now, what percent of respondents have at least 4 siblings? So at least means 4 or more. So I'm seeing 9. So let's see. Let me get a pointer going here. So I'm seeing 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 12 is 25. What's 25 divided by 46? And then times 100, of course, right? Let me clear this drawing, and I'll write this on the package so we can see it. So I've got 25 numbers that are 4 or better. 25 numbers. 25 numbers divided by 46 times 100. And then again, I don't have a calculator right here. What a bummer. I'll have to go find it. So 25 divided by 46. Let's see. So 25 divided by 46 times 100. So 54.3. I'm going to try to make my open math happy and say 478. That way the 2, okay, 66% of all respondents have fewer than how many siblings? So I'm looking for 66. Let's clear that. So I know that if I want to find 66% of a number, you can do maybe in elementary school, middle school, you learned about part over whole equals x over percent over 100. That works, cross multiply, divide. You can also say what's 0.66 times 0.66. I'm trying to get this pen to do a decimal. Sometimes it's not that cooperative. So 0.66 times 46 will give me the same number. So let's go to my calculator. 0.66 times 46. So 30.36. And basically this is like finding that P sub 66, right? So P sub 66 is a decimal. So what did I say? 30. So between 30 and 31, something like that. So if we do some addition here, let's see. Well, let's do this way. I mean, I know there's 46 numbers, and I'm looking for the 30 first number. So somewhere it's either going to be a 4 or a 5. You wait a minute. I'm going to stop this video for a minute and go look at what Dr. Stevens says about this. So I'm looking on page 23 of Dr. Stevens' textbook, and it says calculating the percentile. It says if you when you do that multiplication, if you get a whole number, you average that index number plus the one above it. If you don't get a whole number, they say round up to get the index number. So because I had 30 point something, I'm going to round up to 31. And let's see. So where's my spreadsheet? Let's see. Let's minimize iTunes. Here we go. So my 31st number is going to be 7, 21. So there's 14, there's 21, and 21 plus 9 is 30. So the 31st number will be in this range. So I would say that this is going to be a 5. Let's see if my open math likes the 5. Let's see how I did with the green checks. It didn't like my mean. How about that? So what I'm wondering if I didn't use enough decimal places. So what I'm going to come back here, and I need to fix that, don't I? I guess you guys get to see me stumble through this, which is okay. Hey, we always make mistakes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy. Whoops. I'm going to come back to my mouse. I'm going to copy through this. I'm going to recalculate that mean. So I'm going to find the product. Hopefully, maybe you can fix me, check me on this. So equals, and then shift 8. I'm going to fill down. And I'm going to do the sums. Equals sum. See, it gets pretty fast once you've done a few. Of course, it's nice if it was accurate. Notice I'm just going to do that control copy paste thing. So the mean is 166 divided by 41 or 46. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with, let's see, 3.608 695,652. Sometimes my math is so picky, you got to do plenty of decimal places. Let's make sure I typed that in. I did not type that incorrectly. 695,652. I know it has to be close because, it didn't like my standard deviation. Oh, okay. I still didn't like, what do they say in the answer is? Oh, look at that, would you? Here's the situation where my open math didn't like my rounding. So let's see if I can get this right. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Helps to read. It helps to read the directions, doesn't it? Well, I hope this helps you do this problem. I know I certainly didn't do it smoothly the very first time. So give a yell if you need some help.